There's been a lot of talk within the Tesla investor community as to which automakers might survive the global transition to electric vehicles. One name other than Tesla that surprises many of us is Toyota. Toyota is the largest automaker in the world, selling 10.5 million vehicles in 2022. But by all measures, Toyota is considered to be a laggard in their efforts to electrify. Today, Toyota announced an additional $8 billion of funding for an expansion of their planned battery plant in North Carolina. With 10 battery lines, the batteries will be used in its new large electric SUV, hybrids, and other EVs. So today we'll be speaking with Brian White to explain whether or not what this all means and if it's a sign that Toyota will finally become a force to reckon with. Welcome, Brian.
Good morning, Herbert. Boy, I've got some mixed thoughts on this, so let's see what we can unpack.
No, you definitely been doing deep dives in Toyota and a lot of other car makers in your own YouTube channel, My Tesla Weekend. You should check him out. He's got a whole series of "Is this automaker doomed?" and he's pretty fair in how he evaluates things. All right, so let's go dive into this new news that came out just very recently. Toyota plows record $8 billion more into the new North Carolina battery plant. This is in addition to a $1.5 billion that they already had previously. This battery plant is planned to be opened in 2025. It's going to now increase the number of production lines to 10 from its original 2. So this is the construction that's being happening right now in North Carolina. I think they said something like 5,000 new jobs will be created. Looks like it's a pretty decent size. So the second time the plant has been expanded in 2022. So, they put in additional 2.5 into its initial 1.2. Okay, so there's even additional extra because of the IRA. So they keep adding money into this plant. And it's planned to be for this 3-row electric crossover for 2025. Yeah, that's going to be in the Kentucky assembly plant. And then there's going to be a new partnership with Subaru also. And then it says here that this was announced in 2021, but it'll be phased in through 2030. That seems like a long time. So they'll probably just start slow and expand over time. So they make it sound big, but it may not be that big by that point. What's your thoughts on all this, Brian?
So the fact that they started with a 1.5 billion, expanded it to 2.5, that's great. That's not surprising. What really changed is the IRA credit. If they want to sell electric cars, and they kind of don't, at least not historically, they've got to get big on manufacturing within the U.S. The batteries need to be made here. When Akio Toyoda left the company, the new CEO understood it's do or die. We can create these isolationist policies that will work in markets like Japan, but it's not going to work everywhere. If we want to still sell cars around the world, in the biggest markets, in China, in Europe, and even in many parts of the US, they're going to need to actually electrify. What changed, the big change, was that the IRA gives huge credits for hybrids. So while Toyota's looking at this, they're saying, we can build a battery factory. You notice they're not saying they're partnering with Panasonic or they're partnering with Samsung. No, they're going to do it themselves. We've seen how hard that is. It's really hard to get into that industry. And even someone like BYD or CATL, they struggle with growth too. The idea that Toyota can just roll in and spool up a massive battery factory is overstated, I guess would be the polite way to put it, because there's no way they're going to be able to just make it happen. It's going to be difficult. And the reality is they put that slow ramp in because it's going to probably take that much time to get to volume. But it doesn't matter because they're still going to get huge IRA credits, the buyers will, on hybrids that are made in the U.S., and especially so if the minerals can be sourced in the U.S. So it's hard, but I guess the real winners are the people who will be getting these new high-tech, high-paid jobs, of which, if there's 5,000, that seems a little high. Maybe that includes construction jobs, because battery factories are very automated compared to assembly lines for something like a car. So this will be a net benefit for consumers. And it is a step in the right direction. And it's clear to me, at least a bit, that Toyota is actually planning on moving towards EVs at some point. And the last thing I would add is, unlike other partnerships that we've seen fall apart, like GM working with Honda, Toyota's already working with Subaru on the BZ4X slash Solterra. Those are sister cars. Those are matching vehicles built on the same platform with slightly different skins. So that partnership already exists. I don't see why it wouldn't continue. So that is also a bit promising.
Okay, so I've got a number of points here. So let's break them
Yes.
down. First, I think you were the one that told me, or somebody did, that the reason why they come up with these code names, BZ4X, surprised that you remember the name, is because they have no intention to actually sell it. It's just, small numbers. They're trying to show that they're in electric vehicles, but they don't actually want, people asking for this. That's why they call it like BZ4X.
Right. You give legendary, memorable names to products you want people to remember. The RX-7 from Mazda is a very memorable name, but Buzzforks, please.
Exactly. It's surprising you remembered. Okay. Secondly, IRA is working. So you see these big investments for battery plants, and it's great. Third point, I love that you just said that, right? So they're making hybrids. So even though they may not jump right away into pure electric vehicles, they will just go ahead and use the batteries for their hybrids and push that as fast as much as they can, so they feel safe. And then the final point is, they can slow go this. They can push it out to 2030. Take their time, but it's still, it's a good strategic move that they did this. I want to share a little bit more information here. Just same stuff we just said, but just to give a little bit more numbers. So they're going to create 30 gigawatt hours annually by 2030. And assuming a 50 kilowatt hour battery size, it sounds like it's going to be a smaller car. That would mean an annual capacity of 600,000 EV battery packs, or a hybrid, right? 600,000 EV battery packs a year. So just Alexander Mertz nicely summarized what we just said here. Total 10 battery lines launched through 2030. 7 million square feet is 120 football fields, epicenter of lithium-ion battery production in North America. So let's chat about this, Brian. I mean, so over the weekend, I did an interview with Nicholas Colas. He's a 30-year Wall Street veteran, but interestingly, he has tremendous auto industry background. He helped with Chrysler raising money first and then merging. He helped make the first Chinese automaker go IPO. He's involved with Hertz and many different companies. He said that of all the companies out there, other than Tesla, the other one that could survive is Toyota. And he said that because he feels like they are a company that you cannot count out. They are, first of all, very large market cap, $300 billion in market cap, because the market believes that they'll survive. They are the largest automaker today, and they're known for adapting and making the change. The question is, can they adapt and make the change to electric vehicles, right? This is a big deal. Can they make the change to software and to autonomy? And so I pointed out to him that Toyota was let go, or he quit, who's the grandson, that they're last, by all measures, considered to last. What's your opinion? Do you think that Toyota might actually, make it through?
I think they will absolutely make it through. Their engineering bench is so deep, it's ridiculous. They can build anything. The question is, will they build it? The second reason I think they could do it, in addition to, if you look at something like their hybrid drivetrains, they were so far ahead of the game 20 years ago that it's ridiculous that they fell so far behind. They have the engineering talent to catch up. The second reason is they are the crown jewel of the Toyota automotive world. There is, if they need a bailout, they will get one. They are too big to fail. So that puts a lot of support behind it. And there's a lot of ways a bailout like that could happen. And it wouldn't have to be a hard bailout like we saw with some of the auto manufacturers that went bankrupt. It could just be something like direct subsidies that would benefit all Japanese manufacturers in the way that something like the IRA benefits all manufacturers on U.S. soil. Now, that would happen to be Japanese manufacturers, because I'm not aware of too many foreign-owned automotive plants in Japan. There could be some. So I think I think Nicholas was absolutely right. If you guys haven't seen that video yet, I'm sure Herbert will pop a link in the description. It is long, but it is well worth the watch, and it's amazing insight. So I think Toyota is well positioned to survive, even though it doesn't look like it, even though the race has begun and they're still sitting on the starting line. They've got a very powerful machine, and when it gets moving, they are awfully good at what they do.
I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor. Please check it out. Simply go to my website at herbertong.com. Okay, so this is pretty shocking because I would have said, and I think many of us said, that they are last and that they cannot catch up anymore, because this isn't something that you can just catch up with. Now, some people are looking at this going, oh my God, their strategy of not rushing right away is actually going to turn out to be good. We do think, or I think you and I reported in a previous show that they have a gigacasting machine that they were playing with about a year ago, and it'll take them many years, as you and I reported again, that before you can just turn that on. So they're at least working on it to kind of explore that. There was this announcement recently where they initially said, oh no, we can just take our existing factories and we're going to retrofit them, and the same factory will be able to do multiple different production lines. We're going to, in the same factory, we'll create an electric vehicle, a gas car, a hybrid car, hydrogen car. And then they pulled back and says, we realize now that we can't do that. We need to actually just have one kind of car for each factory. So that was weird. And then they showed a prototype of the unboxed model, right? Where they showed that it was modular, just similar to what Tesla was going to do. So, I mean, yes, it's everything you said sounds right, but it's going to take them years to get there.
Yes, but they have years. They still have, there is no big EV push in the US just yet. It will be coming online over a number of years, so they have time. I do take issue earlier. The article had said that, well, this many batteries equals 600,000 cars at 50 kilowatt hours. You are not going to get away with putting a battery that small in a car in the US, I don't think, unless they've got some miracle efficiency that they do not have, that may not exist. So what that actually means is far fewer pure electrics or full line of hybrids. And then in terms of the production cycle alone is what's going to kill them. When you're making a car, a new platform, it takes three to 5 years from the design to it actually rolling out the door. And we've seen that they're just making changes over the last year and a half. You're right. Those are not coming. We're not going to see those until 2025, 2026 at the earliest. And that is a real delay in terms of just the product cycle alone. And the other thing you'd said was that when you first started saying, yeah, they're going to build everything on the same line. I already had my answer, but you got there first, which is, that's crazy talk. That's not how you do it. You can't do it that way. It doesn't work. You're going to build hydrogen and gas and hybrid and electric on. No, forget the same line. You can't use the same platform unless you want all four of them to be dreadfully inefficient, which is what we're already seeing. They're good at that. We need to get them past that. And don't forget, they've got Joe Justice helping them get back on track. And he's a very sharp guy, and he unfortunately can't tell us what he's told them, but we can see what they're doing. And I imagine that new unboxed prototype has probably got Joe Justice's fingerprints all over it, because that's the sort of thing he looks at and just goes nuts.
Okay. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Joe Justice is what used to work at Tesla, in charge of the Agile, helping them create processes, make change as quickly as possible. He was hired by Toyota. He's there right now at Toyota City. I've interviewed him several times. You can find those videos on this channel as well. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Brian. That was fantastic. Follow Brian's YouTube channel at My Tesla Weekend. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.